Congratulations, founders! You have just received your first term sheets. Should you be celebrating? Maybe not just yet. Did you read the fine print? Do you know what the terms are? Do you understand every single piece of it? The best way to negotiate is to have multiple term sheets, of course, because then you are negotiating with different terms, different people, and seeing the best deal and the right fit for your company. The worst way to negotiate is to not know what the terms are. It's impossible for your brain to educate and negotiate at the same time. If you don't know what all of these terms mean, what they do, how they affect your company in the long term, then you're really hoping for short-term gains and dealing with long-term consequences tomorrow. And that's really, really going to affect how you're going to end up, whether or not you're going to be able to even keep your company, what say you have, and how the day-to-day could be run. So be really, really careful about what your term sheets actually say, and also be careful who it's from. Don't trust a reputable fund just because they are reputable and because they're well known. Trust them because they are the right fit for you. There are a lot of circumstances where founders can work an entire decade and then end up with absolutely nothing because they just didn't understand what the terms were. Or maybe there were funds that actually changed the terms when it came to the term sheet versus the actual contract that they were actually signing. So be really careful when you're reviewing your either 8-page document or 25-page document, because it can really change a lot about what your company is going to be doing in the future. When I was a founder, I left money on the table and I walked away because the terms were not right and they were not the right people to come into my journey at the time. I'm very motivated as an investor now to be the kind of investor I wish I had when I was a founder. That's why I'm very strongly advocating for founders to always understand what the contracts are in front of them, what it means, are they the right investors for you, or is funding is even the right path for you? Because it may not be. If you're not on a venture trajectory for your type of business, it may not be venture investable, and that's totally fine. It's absolutely fine. You can still be a great business and have great longevity, even have fantastic exits without venture. These are the kinds of things that I think not enough founders pay attention to when they're really excited about that potential of getting investment. Because getting investment means like somebody likes me. Somebody likes what I'm doing. They like it so much they want to be on this journey with me and they want to give me money for it. That's amazing. Or it could be the first time that you're going to be seeing a paycheck in a while. However, what are you really giving up and why, right? There are a lot of reasons to leave money on the table and walk away. And some of it is going to be, if you were me, thinking about it for many, many years going forward. And then some of it, you'll know right away that this was the right thing to do and this is the right thing for your team and the right thing for your company. This is something that I feel really strongly about. So please understand, what it is that your business is trying to achieve. If you really need funding, who it should be coming from, and what kind of say you actually have for your own company. What does it mean in terms of board seats? What does it mean in terms of negotiations? And when is the right time to bring these new characters into your story and into your journey? As a venture capitalist, one of the big questions that I get from founders is what are the biggest red flags that we see in these kinds of term sheets that you're talking about, as I talked more and more about term sheets. And it's about the terms and not about the price. And so there isn't a particular big glaring one that I can see because they're all so different and they all may surprise you. So one thing that I see that founders just don't do enough of when learning about them is to talk to other founders. And so the best referrals and feedback that you can get are from other founders to better understand the terminology, but also better understand what it means to be a founder at the stage that is slightly ahead of their stage. The best people that seed founders can learn from would be Series A founders. And so if you can go on the company websites of these funds that you're interested in and talk to some of those portfolio companies, just ask them for a virtual coffee, add them on LinkedIn, just say that I'm a founder, I'm thinking about signing with this firm. Is there something that I can pick your brain about? And then just ask them some questions about their experiences. What kind of value add did these VCs really provide you? And what kind of terms did you have questions about that you wanted to ask them about, how that affected their companies and how they were able to deal with some of them? And you might get a lot of information, you might get very little information, but you're always going to be at a better place than you are right now when you didn't ask at all. I get asked this a lot. How do you build leverage as a founder when you're desperate for funding and you don't just want to take the first deal that comes across your desk? Well, build as much as you can in your actual business and talk to other founders that are in the similar categories or a little bit ahead of you, because they'll be able to tell you what kind of terms that they got. And it's important to understand when they got it. So a seed contract or term sheet that you're receiving in 2024, 2025 is really not going to be the same as those who raised in 2021 when the market was really good. So when you are raising, how you are doing this and how you're building your business means a lot. The other thing is to make sure that you get as many term sheets as you can, if possible. If you are the right founder in a good or bad market, you will still get the kind of traction that you are expecting. And the right founders, I truly believe, will get the right funding. No, you absolutely do not need a lawyer in order to get funding, in order to understand about funding or understand your contracts at all. You absolutely do not need any of those things. There is a great course and free book called Venture Deals. It's written by the founder of Techstars. His name is Brad Feld. I highly recommend that you go through this book. It's very short, very easy, and the course, again, is also free. They have different cohorts, so you can register for the next cohort from wherever you are, because it's an online course. And that's the best way to get started with understanding what these contracts and deals are going to be doing for your business. Someone once asked me, how can founders be in the habit of asking the right questions before signing anything with investors? Well, the more practice you have, the better it is you're going to be. But you can start by asking questions about historical performance. And investors are used to actually answering questions about historical performance a lot because they have limited partners and co-investors and founders to respond to all the time. So they're used to these questions all the time. So you can start with things like, tell me about a time when, and then ask them to provide you an example, walk through a deal, walk through a due diligence process. All of these things should be very clear and very detailed if they are seasoned investors. And there also could be contingencies of certain clauses and things like that that you can also ask them about. Can you give me more information about this? Well, what does this mean? And in this case, what do we do from here, right? So you can also ask them these hypothetical scenarios, as well as adding on to things that have already happened with their previous portfolio companies, their best performing ones or the worst performing ones. And then you can kind of see from there if that's the right fit for you. Because at the end of the day, your valuation is a made up thing. It's agreement between you and the market. Whatever you and the market have agreed on, that number is your worth, right? And whatever you sign, that's your valuation. It's not something that you have come up with that you just stick to regardless of traction, regardless of market, regardless of competition, regardless of anything else. And it's also not something that somebody can just assign to you without your agreement as well. It is a mutual thing. So make sure you're getting to that point with open communication.